Hello everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us for another lesson in our ongoing French course. In this lesson, we are going to look at a super important verb in French, the verb savoir. 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 What does savoir mean in French? Well, it means to know. However, there is a problem if you go from English to French. In English, we have the verb to know, but in French, there are two different verbs for to know, just depending on the specific meaning. So one verb in French, to know, savoir, means to know facts or information, to know in the sense of being aware of something, and also to know how to do something if you follow the verb with an infinitive. The other verb in French is connaître, and we will look at that in the next lesson. Connaître means to know people, to know places, to know in the sense of to be acquainted with someone or something. So we'll look at that in another lesson, but in this lesson we are going to focus on the verb savoir. So a little bit about the verb itself, the history. Savoir, meaning to know in French, is from the Latin sapere. Sapere was a very interesting verb in Latin because originally it meant to taste, as in to taste something. Later, the meaning evolved to know. So how do you go from to taste to know? Well, think about it this way. If you taste many things, many different types of foods, ironically, you become a connoisseur. You know, you have knowledge of what many different things taste like. Now, this example is just speculation on my part, but what is certain, the meaning of the verb sapere evolved from to taste, the very literal meaning, to a more figurative meaning, to know. So some related words are Spanish saber, which means to know, Italian sapere, also meaning to know, and the Portuguese saber, also meaning to know. It's interesting to note, for example, English, the word savvy, meaning very smart, having knowledge, and the word savory, tasty, reflect both of the meanings from sapere. Savvy and savory are both derived from sapere. In French as well, savoir, to know, and saveur, meaning flavor, are both derived from sapere. So it's a very interesting verb in terms of its history. Okay, so let's learn the verb savoir. It's an irregular verb, which means you just have to memorize the forms. It does not follow a very rigid or specific pattern of conjugation. It's easier just to memorize the forms rather than learn a pattern. So let's take a look at the forms. If I want to say I know, je sais, je sais. You know, tu, same form, sais, tu sais. He knows, she knows, one knows. Sait, notice the change in the spelling, but the pronunciation is the same. Je sais, tu sais, il sait, elle sait, on sait. Nous savons, nous savons. We know. Vous savez, you know. Vous savez. And then finally, il, elle, savent, savent. So there you have it. These are the 6 forms that you have to memorize. Je sais, tu sais, il, elle, on sait, nous savons, vous savez, ils, elles savent. Once you know the forms and you can start using it, then that's the fun part. Okay, so let's move on to the practice section of this lesson. Can you tell me the form before I show it to you here? And you should know how to spell it as well. Very important. I know. Je, subject, verb form, sais. Je sais. S-A-I-S. Je sais. You know, the informal you. Tu. And then the verb form, sais. Tu sais. S-A-I-S. Tu sais. You know. He knows. Il sait. S-A-I-T. Il sait. She knows. Same form. Elle sait. S-A-I-T. Elle sait. One knows. On sait. S-A-I-T. On sait. We know. Subject nous. Verb form savons. Nous savons. S-A-V-O-N-S. Nous savons. Nous savons. You know, the formal you, and also the plural you. Vous savez. Vous savez. S-A-V-E-Z. Vous savez. You know. They know. Subject pronoun, ils, verb form, savent, savent, S-A-V-E-N-T. Ils savent, they know. And remember also, elles savent, they know. Okay, so if you were able to guess all of those forms before I showed them to you, then you really know the verb savoir. If you weren't able to do that, keep playing this part until you can write or say the forms before I show them to you. So this is what you need to know. Je sais, tu sais, il, elle, on sait, nous savons, vous savez, ils savent. Now let's end this lesson with a few examples. Let's put this into some complete sentences. I know that I am wrong. How would you say this in French? Well, it's the verb savoir. So, je sais. I know that. Je sais que. I am wrong. Remember, that's an avoir expression. J'ai tort. Je sais que j'ai tort. I know that I am wrong. Je sais que j'ai tort. I know that it is difficult. So in French, this would be je sais que. I know that it is. C'est difficult. Difficile. Je sais que c'est difficile. I know that it is difficult. Je sais que c'est difficile. Do you know when the train arrives? So let's use a vous here. Let's make this formal. So we'll use the inversion method as well. So do you know? Literally know you. Savez-vous? Savez-vous? When? Quand? Savez-vous quand? Le train arrive. Savez-vous quand le train arrive? Very nice sentence. Formal with the vous, and also the inversion is a more formal way of asking a question as well. So, do you know when the train arrives? Savez-vous quand le train arrive? Now, remember, if you use savoir with an infinitive, it means to know how to do something. So, I know how to swim would be je sais. I know. The how is implied here. So, je sais nager. I know how to swim. Je sais nager. She knows how to play tennis. So again, with savoir, elle sait, she knows. And again, the how is implied. So elle sait jouer, she knows how to play. And then, of course, tennis, au tennis. Elle sait jouer au tennis. Okay, well, there you have it. The verb savoir in the present tense, an irregular verb. If you found this helpful, I would appreciate it very much if you give it a like. Subscribers, as always, thank you for your support. To continue learning French, click on a video that appears here on your screen. See you soon. À bientôt.